You are listening to the Children of Film podcast.
We're a 1.5 hour long dick joke.
Hello, we are back after a tumultuous couple weeks. Last podcast was very late due to some technical difficulties, so we're recording this as of June the 2nd, so it's probably up on about the 15th, so, thanks for listening, but no, we're back. We had some bad difficulties last week, so it went up late, but we've got a cracker of a show for you guys today. At the same time, we're going to try and keep it under an hour again, which is not going to work. I'm your host, Jacob. This is my co-host, Jaron. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for that dazzling intro. What was that word? Tumultuous or something?
Tumultuous. Jaron.
Never heard that, and I'm probably going to use it.
It means it's been a roller coaster ride of emotion. Lots of up and downs,
Yes, I got that from context.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
A lot of shenanigans. It's been a bit of a schmozzle, Jaron.
It's been a bit of a schmozzle. That's a good word, too. Not sure it's actually a word, but, it has been a schmozzle. No doubt about that. All right, so what are we gonna... We're going to jump into Diary Display. If you're new here, that's our segment where we talk about
without breaking stride, even though I just talked for a minute about our technical difficulties. Without breaking stride, we are going to get into our Diary Display and go on about the shit we have been watching over the last few weeks. Jaron, take it away.
I'd love to. I watched the movie Shane because I saw it in Logan, and it was really really good. Actually, I really enjoyed it. Great Western. I gave that a 4. I watched the new Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. Jacob, I know you saw this too.
So
we were going to talk about this we were going to talk about this in an actual segment on the show, but then we were like, nah.
Who gives a shit?
So we didn't. Yeah, that's how that went.
So it's not good. I mean, it has its moments. It's not an awful movie.
It's not
great.
Good. It's not. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not great. It's just more of the same, really. People are like, it's the best one since the first, and I'm like,
I mean,
maybe.
the new main characters are just like discount Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And like the girls are always just in ridiculously tight clothing, and so that's distracting. That's a whole nother ordeal throughout the movie. God, yeah. There's some cool action scenes. Some of the effects are decent. I don't think Javier Bardem was very good as the villain.
The effects were great. He was pretty bad, He was pretty bad.
Japado.
Someone find me Japado. And I love that. The funny thing is, in some countries, this is called Salazar's Revenge. But at the start, he's like, you need to tell Japado I'm coming for him because dead men tell no tales. And
but
then
he just told a tale.
And then the titles come up, and but like in Europe, the titles come up and it'd be like Salazar's Revenge. And be like, what?
Revenge, yeah.
But yeah, also he tells multiple tales, Jacob.
He tells
many tales. What do you mean, mate?
Bullshit.
You just told him a tale. Like you were telling him about. Like that's a fucking tale, dickhead. I don't know. He tells multiple tales. It just got under me skin. I'm like, you're telling tales.
And then, like, later in the movie, he tells that entire story about, like, why he wants revenge on Sparrow and how he did him the dirty when he was a young man. Like, fucking, he tells a fair few tales. Anyway, let's not get hung up on the tales and how many of them were told by dead men.
All right.
Thing is, the movie was underwhelming. Is all
yeah, it was. So
I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Let's just move on. I gave it a 2.5. I watched The Raid and Snowpiercer, one of my favorite action movies, and Snowpiercer is just a bloody good time. So funny. I did not mean to say so funny. I meant to say so fun. It's not that funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, especially when he talks about eating a kid. It's fucking funny. I watched War Machine on Netflix by David Michaud. I was really underwhelmed by that. It was still a positive movie, 3 out of 5, but it was disappointing.
Of the 60-odd movies I've seen this year, this is the biggest disappointment. And I gave it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't awful, but it broke my heart because David Michaud is a David Michaud god of filmmaking. He made Animal Kingdom and The Rover, which are two of the best Aussie crime films out there. And this was just... It was very, very flat.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't the satire it wanted to be, and it wasn't the drama thriller it wanted to be. It was kind of mixed in the middle. And I thought Brad Pitt was fine.
He wasn't great. He was what the fuck was that shit he was doing with his eye? I mean, it would have worked if the movie went full satire and, made this character into the oaf that he probably should be. But there are times where it tries to make us care about him and feel sorry for him, and then in these emotional moments, he's still doing his fucking weird eyes and shit. And it's like, no, I can't. Don't try and get emotional if you got him pulling that fucking facial expression.
The best performance in the movie came in the last 5 seconds. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah. I'd say the most engaging character in the movie was some soldier played by Keith Stanfield, and he was barely even in it. And that was probably the only good scene in the movie, aside from the end joke, which was like amazing. But we
that
won't
was
spoil that 'cause
fucking
it's a cameo.
terrific. I love it so much. I blew my mind. I watched Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves in The Devil's Advocate, and it was really good. It's about a lawyer, and basically, so Keanu Reeves plays a lawyer, and he doesn't realize, but all these cases that he wins are taking a toll on his life. And Al Pacino plays the devil, and it's just great.
He advocates for him.
He does. I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it was so fun. I loved the hell out of it. One of the best stop motions I've seen. It was so fun. Every line was just funny. It's so quirky and hilarious. I freaking loved it. Like a really high 4 out of 5. Almost gave it more. I watched Pleasantville because someone, my mate Manny, really loves
Big
it.
Manny.
And I saw that I had it on DVD.
Shout out to
my mum
Manny,
had it on
probably
DVD.
the biggest supporter of this podcast.
Good
of
lad.
anyone.
I saw my mum had it, and I'm like, I'll give it a watch, and I really enjoyed it. It was great. I gave that a low 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I watched the 2017 documentary Joshua Teenage vs Superpower. I think it was fine. It was pretty good. It was it was. I've seen better documentaries this year, and I've seen worse.
I loved it. I mean, I didn't really know a whole lot about the story, but it's about like Occupy Central in Hong Kong, about them trying to protest for Hong Kong's political freedom, and it's about the teenager who kind of led this movement. And I thought it was pretty moving, pretty inspiring. It's not as detailed as you'd like it to be, and it is a little repetitive throughout, but I thought it was a pretty inspiring documentary.
Yeah, it was not bad. I watched the 2017 movie Dig Two Graves, and it was
As did I.
It was better than I thought it would be, actually. I gave it a 2.5. I actually got engaged in the story. It kind of lost me towards the end, but I don't know, there was some real creepy aspects. The sound design was really great. The visuals were great. The performances were pretty good. I liked it.
That's what I was going to say. It was
2.5.
surprisingly good on a technical level, but the story, there's a lot of wacky shit that happens, and I probably would have been able to buy it more if, I don't know, I didn't think the acting was very good from anyone, and it's just, I don't know. It was well made, but there was just nothing to engage it. The girl was alright. She's in fucking Captain Fantastic. She was okay. But everyone else wasn't very good.
This was actually before Captain Fantastic, filmed way before. It came out in 2013.
She's younger.
Filmed in 2013. The best movie I watched all week was The Deer Hunter for the first time, because Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken. The last half an hour, Christopher Walken blows your mind, man. He's so freaking amazing, and it's not even like an outburst or anything. He's just terrific. And Robert De Niro is solid the whole way through, and I love him so much. He's one of my favourite actors. Like,
We've been getting on the De Niro train the last few weeks.
I watched a movie we'll talk about soon, Wonder Woman, and I rewatched John Wick Chapter 2 right after that, both at the cinema. I loved it even more the second time. I can't wait for you to see this, Jacob, and we can talk about it.
I still have not fucking seen it because it still has not come to my fucking town. I gotta wait another 3 fucking weeks. Every time the movie comes up, I just have to mention my fucking misfortune.
That's fine. This morning I watched Happy Gilmore as a rewatch because I love that film, and it just came up on Netflix. It's like 90 minutes, and it's so damn funny. I forgot how funny it was, and I wish he was still making. I feel like Adam Sandler plays the same character in every movie, but this movie really needs his character because, he's this rough and tumble guy coming from hockey, learning to play golf with all these guys that stick up their asses, and I just love when he's just beating people up, and he's like. And in the background when people are talking about him, all you hear on the screen is, you messed with the wrong mother B, you piece of B, and you're a stupid C, and it's just all bleeped. It's amazing. It's so funny. Shooter McGavin is a classic comedy.
The price is wrong, bitch!
Oh yeah, that scene still holds up. It's amazing. And then today I watched A Single Man, Tom Ford's other film, and I really loved it. I love his style, man. His visuals, his
How
score.
Good is
he
the
has
fucking
the same
colour
score as
changes
Nocturnal Animals. Oh yeah,
in the
man.
middle of scenes.
Exactly. It's just so. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Is that on purpose?" And then it just kept happening, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's really good." Yeah, and that's me, Jacob. What about you?
Okay, well, you've knocked out a few of mine because we've seen some both, but I watched the Hudsucker Proxy in my never-ending quest to watch all the Coen Brothers movies because a lot of them that I haven't seen don't exist on Blu-ray here, and fuck buying DVDs. I'm sorry, but Hudsucker Proxy, it's a satire on bureaucracy. Much like another movie I watched this week, but we'll get to that. And it's alright. Tim Robbins was okay in it as this, he's like a dimwit who gets elected, or he gets put as the fucking CEO of this company because they want their stocks to go down. Jennifer Jason Leigh and Paul Newman were really good in it, and I mean, it was alright. It was really silly and over the top, but the Coen Brothers managed to sell it. I watched Love Song, a 2017 movie. It did the festival circuit a bit last year. It's Riley Keough and Jenna Malone as two,
I watched that too.
Did you watch it? Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to add it to my.
Yeah.
I forgot to add it on my
Loser.
letterbox. Actually,
Loser.
Yeah, I don't remember what day I watched it.
And like they've kind of, you can tell there's history between them, and they kind of try and reignite their friendship. Maybe there's a bit of love there, a bit of romance, but they're both in relationships with other people, and it's a pretty standard indie drama. The performances are great. Like Riley Keough was really, really freaking good. She was the main character.
She was great.
Gemma Malone was good, and I still can't look at her the same way after the Neon Demon. But she's, this is a start,
man.
This is a start.
She always.
This is a start.
Nah,
she's good.
She's so good.
Donnie Darko would have been the first thing I saw her in too, so I've always got
same.
a soft spot for her for that. But like, she plays a lot of weird characters. It's just the
She
Neon
does.
Demon, man. It fucked me up. I'm sorry, it fucked me up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not into the whole necrophilia thing. Anyway, I watched Raging Bull, which again getting on the Scorsese train, the De Niro train, and it's pretty fucking good. I didn't love it. It's not my favorite Scorsese movie, but I did really like it. And Jake LaMotta is like such a dick, such a sort of self-destructive kind of guy that it is difficult to engage with it at sometimes, but I think it has to be that way. And it's one of the best looking movies Scorsese's ever done, and the musical score was very good, and the boxing scenes were insanely well done. So not my favorite Scorsese, but one of my favorite De Niro performances. He was fantastic.
De Niro said he broke many ribs and like just tons because he did all the boxing scenes himself without a double because he wanted them to look real, and he broke tons of bones doing them. It was really cool.
Yeah. All right. I watched Terry
I'm not
Gilliam.
advocating you break bones, but
no, you don't want to do that. I mean, unless for the role. But I watched Terry Gilliam's Brazil, another bureaucratic satire. Jonathan Pryce plays this dude who he works in one of the lowly departments, and it's this sort of dystopian future where everything's a lot of paperwork. Everybody sort of has the same way of thinking. There's no sort of free thinking or creativity in this world, and he kind of goes on this adventure. He meets this girl who he's been seeing in his dreams, and he has these dreams where he's there's a fucking lot to it, but basically it's a very, very smart movie, and it predicted a lot of stuff about the future maybe, and it's about finding a way to escape this restrictive world. I don't really know how to describe Brazil in 45 seconds, but it was fucking great. I watched Law Abiding Citizen because I had it on DVD for some reason. I just watched it, and because I've had it sitting on my shelf for like a year, and it was okay. It wasn't very good. Gerard Butler was all right.
It's my mate Declan's favorite film.
Big D. It's I don't know. It's an entertaining premise. Like he's getting revenge on all the like district attorneys and shit who let his family's murderers go free, and but it just kind of devolves into nothingness and silliness, and there's nothing really to it. Again, on the Scorsese kick, I watched Mean Streets on Netflix. Really, really enjoyed it. Again, not one of my favorites of his, but the writing was really good. De Niro, once again, he's a bit of this loose cannon, and again about wannabe gangsters in Little Italy, because I think that's the only thing he knows how to make movies about.
What'd you give
I rewatched 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's what I gave it.
I rewatched Patriots Day. Finally got it on Blu-ray, and fuck everybody who didn't give that movie a chance because I don't know your political views or whatever. Because like I'm lefty, I'm liberal as fuck, and like I love this movie, and yeah, it celebrates law enforcement because law enforcement do a lot of good. And it's a really respectful and moving tribute to the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing. And fuck, man, it's a well-made film. It's really damn good, and it's emotional. And if you never gave it a chance, you should watch it. It's you'll probably cry. Rewatch Get Out, time number 3, and it's just I love it more every time. It's my favorite movie of 2017 so far. I find more layers to Daniel Kaluuya's performance every time I watch it, and it is so much fucking fun. I watched the big one for the first time, Citizen Kane. Jaron, let me tell you, it's no Citizen Kane, but it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, you liked it?
What I was
you
blown
give it?
away most, I gave it 4 out of 5. And
Nice.
the thing I was blown away most by was Orson Welles' performance. He was excellent.
Oh, dude.
I took more away. Of his acting away from that movie than I did with his directing. As great as he was,
big call.
his performance was so damn good though. Like, and you know, they did a pretty damn good job with aging him up and everything. And yeah, he was really great, and it was a pretty damn good movie. I'm probably gonna have to watch it again sometime to appreciate it more.
Also,
We watched Wonder Woman, and today I went and saw Baywatch. It was not good. You know, I've been holding out hope. Me and Jaren have been sitting there like, yeah, maybe it looks good. Like, it looks fucking funny. It's not good. I'm sorry. I've really wanted to like it, but when your movie has Alexandra Daddario and Kelly Rohrbach running around in swimsuits the whole time and it's still shit, then you know you've got some issues. It was not. I give it a 2 out of 5. It was not very good. And just before we recorded, I watched Wes Anderson's Bottle Rocket. There we go. His filmography's completed. Seen all his movies now. Got it on Blu-ray, and it was very quirky and whimsical, Jared. I'll tell you that much. In true Wes Anderson, you know, you got some quirk, you got some whimsy, you got some, you know, crazy characters that getting into some shenanigans. You got Owen Wilson there, so yeah, it's quite Wes Anderson-y, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's pretty light, it's pretty breezy, but especially the third act is a lot of fun, and the music's great, and it's, what can I say? I love everything Wes Anderson's done, except for the Darjeeling Limited, which was not that good, but okay, that's Jacob's Story Display.
Ooh, we love that. All right, should we get on to some news, Jacob?
Movie news. Okay. Adam Wingard is set to direct Godzilla vs. Kong, which will be hitting theaters in 2020, and I guess they're continuing the trend of getting these indie directors with no blockbuster experience to do their movies.
It's not a trend now. I think it's just a thing. It's happened for
I mean, why do they do
now.
it? Is it because they want a fresh vision? Is it because they want a yes man? Is it
I think
because
they want a yes man. But someone who's actually a competent yes man.
They want someone who they're not going to have to pay too much. Like, I don't know. But I don't mind this call. I like this call.
You'd know Adam Wingard. He directed movies like Blair Witch that came out last year, The Guest, and You're Next, all 3 horror films. So this is a step out of... He's doing Death Note this year too, I think. But this is a step out of...
I think Death Note looks pretty bad, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But no, I mean, yeah, it does look pretty bad. But he hasn't made a bad film yet. I mean, I like Blair Witch. It's not
Blair
bad.
Witch was okay. It was like teetering on the edge of bad.
But he hasn't made a bad one. And this is kind of out of his comfort zone, obviously it's a big blockbuster, which is obviously out of
But I read that he's a big fan of old
so.
creature features and stuff, so this will be right up his alley, and he's probably going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, we'll have to have a gander. And so I'm just...
Can he still add in like a synth pop soundtrack like he did with his first 2 movies? Because I want that.
God, I hope so. That would be amazing. And he needs to add Dan Stevens too. I'd love that.
Get Dan Stevens to fucking mocap as Kong in this one. I don't even care if he looks different. You know, it'd be a better role for him than the Beast.
Well, Kong is weird in this universe. He just looks like a man in a gorilla suit. He doesn't look like a monkey.
Yeah,
but you know, we'll have to keep going. All right,
have Dan Stevens play the obligatory boring human character.
We've got some box office news. Usually we don't cover box office news here because, you know, who cares. But this Memorial Day box office weekend, Jacob, was the lowest Memorial Day box office weekend in 20 years. With
since what, 999?
And yeah, exactly. And because Baywatch and Pirates of the Caribbean both opened, and they both did not do as expected, and
rightly so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Pirates will make its money back. Baywatch won't. Apparently, they want a sequel, like Zac Efron Rocket Talking sequel, and I'm like, new. You know, that does suck, but I mean, put out good movies on Memorial Day and maybe it won't tank. It's a lesson for you. I mean, I'm sure there've been worse movies
all these
that have
studios
done better,
are like blaming Rotten Tomatoes and critic reviews for their movie success. How about just not make shit movies?
If you make a good film,
How's
Rotten
that
Tomatoes
grab you?
won't even matter. First of all, you're wrong. Rotten Tomatoes isn't the problem. But second of all, I mean, they wouldn't even matter if you made a good film anyway. So just
make a good movie. Oh my god.
God, right.
Anyway,
Tom Holland,
yeah.
Jacob, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, is going to play young Nathan Drake in an Uncharted film. I believe this is taken from the lore of the game Uncharted 3, when you get sent back into Nathan Drake's child self, and he's becoming. And I think this is a good move. I mean, I love Tom Holland. I think he's definitely got the acting chops. He's got the body. You know, he's only 21. He's pretty ripped. And if this. Since they're not actually going straight video game, they're taking it on a different story. I mean, this could break the... I mean, it probably won't. But if it does break the trend, they've got a franchise and they've got someone who can be Nathan Drake for 10 years because he's young.
I've never played an Uncharted game, so to be quite honest, I don't really care. But, you know, good for him. I love Tom Holland from the, 1.5 movies I've seen him in.
What do you mean 1.5? What about In the Heart of the Sea and Locke?
Yeah, well, there's that. And, Locke's the half because he's not really on screen in it.
Yeah, true. In the Heart of the Sea.
Yeah, Heart of the Sea. I forgot about that one. So you got that. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Our friend Lockie's a big fan of the games, and he got really mad at this. So I don't know what that means. But
speaking of quickly, I don't know. But I've heard everyone nothing but praise besides him, so I don't know. There's one. There's another thing I've got to mention before we go on to the next bit of news. I watched the Home. I wasn't going to watch the new Homecoming trailer, but they showed it in the cinema last night when I was lining up for Wonder Woman. So I was like, "Fuck's sake!" And so I got it, and again, it reveals a lot that I didn't want to know. I'm not going to spoil it for you because obviously... But,
actually, hang on, no, I might have actually watched that one.
It's the one that opens with him talking to... him videoing the fight in Civil War, which I love. Like, even in BVS, a movie I loathe, I love the scene where Batman's looking at Superman fighting Zod from Man of Steel.
No, sorry, I watched that first... I watched that first 20 seconds, then I turned it off.
Yeah, good. Nah, but it's so... I just love the idea of a different take on a fight we've already seen, man. Like, even the BVS one I love, and this one's... Imagine a movie I don't think it's going to be
much, though.
No, obviously it won't. It wasn't much in Batman v Superman. I'm just saying I love the shot. I'm not saying it's going to be a big part of the film. I think it's real cool. It probably won't even be in the movie, to be honest. But no, it's just... fun as. And we've got a sad bit of news to end on.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is from over a week ago, but we just wanted to mention it about how Zack Snyder's stepping away from Justice League because his daughter committed suicide, which fucking sucks. And I've seen a lot of cunts making jokes about it and stuff. Like some guy made some tweet about it, and we called him a cunt, and we got removed from Twitter for 3 days.
We politely said he should be curb stomped. We said we'll give money to the person who curb stomps him because he was making fun of this guy's daughter who killed herself. Yeah. And we got banned and not him for 3 days. So
Never
whatever.
Changed Twitter.
Take that as you will. Yeah.
Well, I once got banned from Facebook for a few days because some dude was being a homophobe, and I sarcastically said the word faggot against him.
Not a good word.
I got banned.
Well,
I wasn't using it as a hate word. I was being, I don't know, I can't remember.
Jacob, that word has put us down.
These things have just got trigger words, and it doesn't matter what context you say it in. But anyway, is that it? And Joss Whedon's taken over for the movie. I think we just kind of turned Snyder's tragedy into a way to vent about the Twitter system.
But it does suck. And lots of people are like, "Oh, is this going to be a Joss Whedon movie now?" All it means is he's babysitting some reshoots, and he's rewriting a couple scenes.
It is Zack Snyder's movie,
and he's doing it in. I refuse to say that. He's doing it in Zack Snyder's style as well. He's not putting his because that would just be. I mean, as much as I prefer Joss Whedon to Zack Snyder, it would just be too weird to just cut everyone. It's dark, saturated, and then just quips for 3 minutes, and then dark and saturated.
You and Diana better not be playing hide the zucchini.
Oh no, don't do that. Good movie, bad quip. Here we go. So I'm gonna reinstitute prima nocta, Jacob. We're gonna talk about
such for nuclear codes, and you don't want me to.
I'm sure most people have seen it, but if you haven't, you're safe now because we're just gonna quickly talk about Wonder Woman with no spoilers, and then we'll go into spoilers. But Wonder Woman, and I'm pretty sure it's safe to say
adult female,
the DCEU's first good movie.
Yes. What's that? Oh, Jacob and Jaron, those DC heading curmudgeons, said something positive about one of their movies. What the fuck? Is this the Twilight Zone?
Yes, it is. I actually hated this movie.
look, Marvel's check didn't clear this week, so our real opinions are coming out.
Nah, it's a great film. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to start off with saying that I think it is a very well executed film, but I mean, don't come in expecting it to break new ground like a movie like Logan did. Not comparing the two, but this is standard origin story stuff.
It's
it's just executed really well.
It's a cross between Thor and Captain America 1.
Thor 1 and Captain America 1. Yeah, it's a fish out of water person from another land who is like a god, and he has superpowers, and
it's World War II, and there's a guy named
him
Steve.
Or he is really like the most beautiful person on the planet. And and then there's a guy named Steve in World War II, and they have to fight the Germans with this super weapon that doesn't actually exist. You know, it's a mix between the two. But it is a damn fun time. I actually wrote that on my review that it's a mix between the two, and some guy complained. He's like, "Oh, it's not." And I'm like, "Jeez, man, take a joke."
All right, without spoiling anything, there's a moment in the third act that is like has so many fucking similarities to Cap 1 that you almost got to laugh. But
there was a moment where
it
was like a heartthrob moment too, and I was like, and it was just taken out of it a little.
I wasn't taken out of it. I still thought it worked.
I was, it did work, but I was looking on Rotten Tomatoes.
I haven't seen Cap 1 50 times like you have.
Great film. I was reading up just some reviews after it, and some guy said that it was like it was a homage, so it didn't matter. And I was like, was it a homage to Cap 1?
I think it was a coincidence.
Well, I don't know who's to say.
Look, I mean, they're both drawing from comic book storylines, and, it just happened that there's another guy named Steve who was in World War II. Anyway, we're not going to hung up on that. On the thing, so the movie starts out, we're in Themyscira, if I pronounced that right, I think.
Themyscira.
Young Diana's there.
How beautiful is it, man? The colours, man. Jeez.
She's the only kid. Yeah, the colours were very good, and then, like, the second half of the movie is just grey again. But, oh, well, we got a bit of colour. It's baby steps, but, you got Robin Wright there teaching her how to fight. You got her mum played by a person, and all the Amazons hanging out there, and those scenes were pretty cool. There's a really cool action scene on a beach.
Yeah, Robin Wright, I love from obviously movies like Forrest Gump, some other movies, and then I watched House of Cards. It just came back. It's amazing. She's so good in it, and it's like a political thriller, and it's just so cool to see her do flips and shoot 3 guys at once with an arrow while in midair. I don't know, man. It's just so great.
And then she's grown up now, and she's like, Gal Gadot, she's the supermodel playing a superhero, but she's finally sold me, Jaron, because she was fucking good in the movie.
She was really good.
She really, really sold the innocence of Diana and, the hope and optimism in her. And that was something that's been sorely missing from DCEU movies lately, hope and optimism. And, Chris Pine, Steve Trevor washes up on their beach, and she ends up going with him to go and fight the war because she thinks the war's being led by Ares. And,
the god of war.
Because, her mum told her a story about him once, so she's like, without any evidence, is certain that it's going to be Ares. So that's where her,
even Chris Pine is telling her, like, it's not Ares, it's not one guy. Yeah. She's like, yes, it is. Let's just go. It's Ares.
And then, she gets offended whenever someone doesn't believe her.
Yeah.
But,
I think that that's
the thing with her character. Yeah. She's not perfect. She does make some pretty dumb decisions, and she's real gung-ho and brash about it, but that's what's good about her, because it's her sort of coming to terms with who she is and developing.
Yeah, I agree.
Character development for you, DCEU.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a character with clear motivations, it's amazing what it does for your film. I think they definitely found the right balance of where to make fun of her origin story and where to take things seriously. Because obviously all the Themyscira stuff was pretty serious. And then at one point, she's just sitting there and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've read all 12 novels on on female sexualization, and men are not necessary." And and she's like, and he's like,
"How from clay?"
Yeah, how were you born? My mum built me from clay and struck me with lightning. And he's like, "Neat." Like, they do make fun of it, and it's a great balance. Patty Jenkins did such a great job with this film. It was really great. She handled everything really well. Like I said, I think it's really long. It's 2.5 hours. I think it kind of meanders a little bit in the middle, but that's not a huge complaint. But no, I really did love this movie.
Action. I think they nailed her combat and powers and stuff. The lasso was pretty badass. Her swords and shit. And that middle act, the action scenes that we saw a bit of in the trailer, the army one, which is charging into battle, that's definitely the best part of the movie. It was a really, really great act. I found myself getting chills while it was happening, because it was really just uplifting. Like, fuck yeah, go get him, go get those Nazi cunts,
man,
or whatever
like
they were.
fucking yeah, man. You said C word a lot.
Sorry.
No, I'm not. Fucking yeah, just seeing her like they did use a lot of slow mo, just like Zack Snyder, because they want to keep this universe. They want to make all these movies kind of similar in tone and style. And that was
a little annoying because there was so many great like moves and like stunts and choreography going on in these action scenes, and then there was times where like every 10 seconds it would be like ooh slow-mo, and I'm like, slow-mo is cool, but fuck, use it sparingly. If you're doing it every 10 seconds it takes me out of it. Like, my favorite parts of the action in this were the, like, you know, the unbroken scenes without any slow-mo. Like, there's one part where she's like it's a like maybe a 15-20 second shot and she's like lassoing everybody and there's no slow-mo, and I'm like, yes, more of that, please.
Yeah, it was executed really well, but yeah, they did
overall the action was pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, it's just so cool seeing Wonder Woman kick ass. And, I mean, she's my favourite part of the Justice League now. I'm most excited to see her when this movie comes out because I just love her character now.
I mean, she was just about the best part of BVS as well.
Oh, so, yeah, she was right up there. But, no, I'm absolutely sold. And I'm not going to lie, this makes me, I mean, I'm not going to, but this makes me want to just watch BVS again just to see her and see where she goes after, because this takes place, obviously, before it. Just to see where she goes after this film and just, like, try and think to myself while I'm watching how she got there. And, I mean, there's no way I'm going to do it, but it just... Oh, actually, we might be doing a commentary for a
oh, God, maybe.
thing, but we'll have to see, because I don't really want to, but it would be funny. Who's to say? No, but whenever she comes on the screen, I'll just be like, yeah, Diana! And that's what I wanted this movie to make me do. I wanted this movie to make me love Wonder Woman, and I do. She's awesome. And like
the first scene where she full on gets her outfit out and like climbs up from the trench, it's like, yeah, boy.
And like you said, she's so innocent. Like, and like she'll be going to a meeting where women aren't allowed in, and they're just talking about, all these soldiers' lives don't matter as long as we win the battle. And she's like, what are you saying? These are people. Why aren't I allowed in here? And it does make fun of a lot of things that went on. Obviously, it was the 20s. So back then, it was pretty bad. You couldn't be black. You couldn't be. Oh, dude, Spud is in this from Trainspotting too.
Yeah, Big Spud, Big Ewan Bremner. I didn't know he was in it, and then when he showed up, I'm like, yeah,
which is
Spud.
Weird because they've been,
Chris has a few friends that go on their adventure with him, and they were pretty good too. I wouldn't mind seeing them return in some form. Nope. I don't know if Wonder Woman's going to get another sort of standalone or a side story, but actually, no. They wouldn't return because it's World War One, and now it's sorry, that was a dumb train of thought from me. But the point is, the side characters in this were all right.
They were good. Yeah. All right, so I'm giving this one a solid 3.5 out of 5. This is finally a DCU movie I will buy on Blu-ray and watch again. I'm so glad. I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad they could do it. Maybe overhyped a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. Jacob?
Yeah, well, I have some issues with the third act. There's a reveal involving the villain at the end that I thought was extremely clunky and just really it didn't work, and the final battle was just, it felt very BVS Doomsday-y. They definitely Doomsday the last villain.
No spoilers, but it is someone from the DC lore, and they Doomsdayed him. He come in for 10 minutes and then was smitten.
Yeah, the final battle, I mean, I've been trying to rationalize it, but I thought it sucked. But other than that, I really, really liked the movie. I would also give it a 3.5 out of 5. And aside from that ending, I really, really enjoyed it. And we're going to talk about that ending, obviously, in a moment, because spoilers. So, that's Wonder Woman. We both agree here that it's good.
It
is. Rejoice.
It is real good, yeah. 3.5 from both of us. All right, should we get into spoilers real quick?
Yeah, we'll do like 5 odd minutes on spoilers. Maybe 10 even.
Get on the wild side. All right, if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, leave now. Come back in the time that's on the screen. That time. Come back in that time.
Yep. All right. Fuck off. But as I say, don't fuck all the way.
Just fuck a little bit off. A tad bit off. Like fuck like 5 minutes off.
Go have a flog for 5 minutes and then come back.
Alright, so Wonder Woman spoilers. I just want to say the bit we're talking about that has extreme similarities. I messaged everyone who I knew who had seen it to see if they picked up. So it's obviously, like we've said, so it's similar to Captain America 1 in that so a guy named Steve has to fly an enemy plane out of Germany carrying German weapons, and he has to sacrifice himself in the plane so it doesn't hit its target where it's shot at,
and there's a watch
there's
involved.
One of them gives the other a watch to remember them by, and right as he's about to sacrifice himself, the other goes,
She yells,
Steve!
Steve.
And I'm just like, oh my god, like this is really really up there. And like if he flies the plane off with this weapon that's kind of not, it was created by German scientists. And these German scientists killed the main actual like real life villain of World War II. In this lore, it was real similar. Obviously, that's like the final act, and that's where when he was like Steve, and I mean, I love that scene where he looks back and then looks at the gun, and he just breathes for a minute before he shoots the tank and blows up.
I didn't see it. I didn't pick up on that the way you did during the movie, and yeah, it's similar, but I still
so
thought
did I, man.
it
was
worked.
so
It was a
good.
scene.
I just love how they gave him a second to breathe before he did it. They didn't just kill him. He didn't just. I just think it added a lot to his character. Just to the just let you take it in for a
just
second,
him showing that it's sort of accepting what he's about
and like
to
it
do.
does suck, but he has to do it, and like it really does suck.
He should have just like jumped out and somehow blown it, and then had Wonder Woman catch him, and he would have been all right.
Wonder Woman
Maybe
could have survived that
another,
blast.
Another way around it.
No.
And I like the scene where she sort of replayed their last conversation in her head, where it went a little differently.
Yeah, it does.
I
love
good,
that too. So the Doomsday we're talking about. So it turns out that the guy who plays, I think Lupin in Harry Potter. I mean, I knew this guy was going to be someone big because he's a big name actor, and he was in 2 scenes before this reveal. So I'm like, when's he going to come back? And he comes back. Yeah.
General.
So first of all, Diana has this. Diana's like thinks this guy is Ares, and she kills him, and then the war doesn't stop.
Right, so that's another thing. The whole movie, she's going on like, the main German general bad guy the whole time. Oh, it's Ares. So it's not Ares.
But also the thing is, after she kills Ares, who she thinks is Ares, Steve, they have a big heart-to-heart, and Steve's like, maybe it's not run by one guy. Maybe the humans are just bad, and they have a big heart-to-heart, and Diana's like, oh, you're right.
And then
it's just
Ares.
the humans, you're right. Like, everyone, like, it's more complex than one guy, you're right. Turns around, I am Ares, I've been controlling everyone. I'm like, come on. Like, it really undermined its central
it kind of
theme
undermines
of,
his speech.
and
just his whole introduction scene, we've seen it a million times before with villains. He's like, oh, Diana, we're not so different, you and I. Oh,
it happened in Guardians where he's like, you need to join me. You need to be.
Yeah,
you need
exactly.
To join this plan. It happens in every superhero movie. Just me and you, Jacob, we can take over the universe together. Like, it's so.
We can take over the fucking podcasting world.
And I just love how, like, although this didn't happen in Guardians 2, Diana did not even think it over. She looked at the beautiful colors and then was like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. She's too pure, man. She's too pure. Yeah. She's so innocent and just amazing. Like we said,
Ares was shit. His battle, his just like CGI there's just a bunch of red flames everywhere. I thought their battle was terrible.
I think they really fan-four-sticked his costume too. Like, it looked like melted metal. And like, Ares is like this character from Injustice who I used to play as, and I loved him. And I think how it's cool how in the Injustice game, it's actually what he was doing in this. Like, he spins metal around and then grabs someone and throws it. That's what he was doing in this. That was pretty cool. But like, it looked like melted, like molten metal, which is what like Victor Doom looked like in Fan-4-Stick. Still haven't seen that movie because I refuse to. But
and just I didn't buy David Thewlis as Ares. He wasn't intimidating. That you could see his fucking head through the mask in the fight, and I'm just like, this goofy cunt is no threat.
Yeah, right. I mean, the main thing I hate more than the look of the character or what it did was that it undermined that, because I think that speech was amazing by Steve when he was talking a bit to Diana, and he's like, maybe it's not one guy, maybe we're just bad, maybe it's us.
And then not like 1 minute later, Ares explains how he's been orchestrating it all and pulling the strings. And like, also, he was okay. So he was taking the form of this fucking general. Like, so was Ares pretending to be that general the whole time? Because that would have been a few years of work. Because Steve knew this bloke, so he'd obviously known him for a couple years. So, like, was Ares just like doing all this general work for like years so he could have this one reveal with one? I felt like they were just like, we want to have Ares revealed at the end. Let's make a previous character from the film.
Let's pick a character. Let's lotto the characters and see which face on a ball we pick out.
You didn't need to do that. I think it would have been better if he had just shown up as Ares
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
I mean
that
I
was
think it would have
fucking
been
stupid.
better if Ares didn't show up at all, just because of the speech. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I
like,
would have
or
loved
the-
Ares
the-
to shown
the
up, but that
first bad
speech
guy-
just undermined it.
The first bad
So
guy, the
bad.
German guy, he would have been a better fucking Ares.
Yeah, oh, he did.
And he was not
definitely
good.
would've been, but I'm just gonna say, whenever the girl was on screen and she looked like Ghost in the Shell, like she had half her face was like plastic or whatever. I
Yeah.
cringed, man. I did not like her at all. And when
The
he's
villains
talking
were
to her in
terrible.
the party, and she's like, "Oh," and she like literally makes like those noises when he's talking about. So when Steve's saying she's beautiful, she's like, "Oh," I'm like, what the fuck? And like, it's cool how Diana was about to kill her, and then she realizes that she's just a tortured person messed up by Ares. She doesn't. She was obviously never going to kill her, obviously, but you know, it was.
Because she's
Yeah,
a woman.
who's to say? Well, not because she's a. I love how this didn't have an anti-men agenda. This could have been Ghostbusters
Yeah, no,
2016
not at all.
easy, but it's really not. It's really quite the opposite. It really celebrates them, and one thing that is just sticks out to me was something that just seemed so unconventional. Was when Steve started lying on the other side of the boat near the start, and she's like, "Why don't you lie next to me?" And he's like, "Oh, that's not, yeah, what?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "Come on, lie next
Well-
to me. Let's sleep next to me. Sleep with me." And he's like, "Oh, like what? That?"
He's
what?
like, well, if you want me to, I will.
Yeah, and he's like,
But like
yeah.
Steve was good in that they nailed Steve in that he's
yeah.
not a goofball, he's not an
Yeah, he
idiot,
was.
he's not a creep.
Dude,
or
he was a
anything.
great
He's just a
side
great guy, and
character.
he is genuinely determined to save the world
Yeah, absolutely.
and stop the
yeah,
war. And like, but there was a lot of humor in this, and I thought the humor worked as well.
I didn't
There was
like
some
the
pretty
humor in
funny
the trailer,
jokes.
but
Spud
I
had a
actually
few
thought it was
jokes,
worked really
and-
well in the film.
Yeah, the humor was terrible. Yeah, the humor was sucked in the trailer because they picked the worst
Yeah, I know.
jokes.
They just
to
picked
put in
the
trailer.
female
there was-
empowerment jokes for the trailer.
I thought their friend, what was his name, Samir, he was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. He was funny.
I loved all the
when they,
friends in their little
Yeah.
ragtag group. So you have, I don't remember the names. You have the chief, the Indian one.
the
You
Native
have the one who
American
wants to be
guy.
an actor, but he can't because he's black. That added a lot to his character. Before that, he was just the goofball who hit on Diana a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got Ewan Bremner.
Okay, so you're saying there's a whole planet with only women and they all
How do
look
we
like
get
her.
there?
How do we get there?
He's got a point. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, wait, what about? Oh, she's wearing glasses. Now she's not the most beautiful person in the world.
Yeah, so that's another thing. It kind of pokes fun at how she's ridiculously
yeah,
fucking
but
attractive.
yeah. So that's Wonder Woman. I hope you can tell that we are genuinely enthusiastic about this because it's a great film.
I mean, yeah, we shat on Ares a lot, but the thing is, that's probably the biggest spoilerific thing you can talk about, and we just wanted to
yeah,
dissect. We wanted to
yeah.
explain what our big issue was with it, but overall,
Quickly, I want
liked
to say I hate that Robin Wright was killed at the start. It was just really cliched.
Hey, I was sitting there. I'm like, she didn't fucking.
Like, she was
last
so
long, and while I was
badass
watching
and
it,
awesome.
I thought of you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jaron won't be happy.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so cliche. Of course, someone has to die to like encourage her journey. Like, I don't know, but I mean,
I would have rather had her mum die.
yeah,
Keep Robin.
I would have rather, yeah, right.
Because Themyscira is still there.
Yeah.
She could maybe show up again. And also, I would have wanted a bit more closure.
Yeah,
with
they never
Themyscira.
went
Like,
back.
we never
Yeah,
go
I
back
was
there
like,
at all.
You never go back to Themyscira to see what they, because it ends up with them like, oh, this is a really sad day for me, Diana. You're leaving me, and that's the last time you see her. When she's like having a hissy that Diana's
Yeah.
leaving.
And Diana, it ends with Diana just in modern day Gotham jumping off a building. Let's
Paris,
fight crime.
Paris,
And it's
yeah.
like, oh, Paris.
I was when she
okay,
got up,
it's
I
the
was
same
like,
as
"Let's
in
see the
Gotham,
Batman, let's see
but-
the Batman," and then you see the Eiffel Tower, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, she's in Paris." But I was like, "Come on, Bruce Wayne, come on, Batman," but I would actually think that it would have worked well if no one had died, and Robin Wright was just there to see her off of the journey, like helped her get the horses or the boat or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's fine. I mean, I'm not complaining. I am complaining, but it was always going to happen. Someone always has to die to kickstart the emotional journey. I just didn't think it had the weight for me because she wasn't in it as much. Although she was the only person kind of trained guy, and I love how the whole first 10 minutes is her mum going, "No, she's not going to fight. No, she's not going to fight. No, she's going to fight." And then Robin Wright and her mum talk for like 1 second. She's like, "Oh yeah, you got a point. All right, you train her hard, train her real hard, like train her fucking harder than anyone. Throw arrows at her and shit."
Yeah, because she has powers, I guess. And they didn't explain much about her powers. I would have liked a little more about that, but like about how she got them and stuff. But I guess she was just created as a god killer.
Absolutely.
Is
I knew,
basically
dude.
the gist of
Literally,
it.
as soon as she was
Yeah.
like, they created one weapon, the god killer. I swear to God, when they were like, there was one weapon, the god killer. I leaned to my friend Kyle, who was sitting next to you, and I was like, Diana's going to be the god killer. And then when they showed the sword, I was like, oh, okay, that humbled me a little. But then at the end, when she's like, "You're the God Killer, Diana," I'm like, "Yep, see, I told you." Of course, she's the God Killer.
So, does she still have the same sword? She get a new one made? Cause
I doubt it, because Ares destroyed it straight up.
Yeah.
So
okay.
did everyone just keep? They must have just kept that sword there,
Wonder
so
Woman.
no one would know that it was Diana. I guess they could have just they could have just
like,
never
why'd they have the
mentioned there was a
sword?
God Killer. They could have just never mentioned that.
Well, actually, I guess the sword probably was a decoy for her, because doesn't like her mum whisper to Robin, right? Like, you will never tell her the truth.
Oh,
about
they
what
say
she
that.
is
They say that often, but I mean, just never mention there's
Yeah.
a God Killer, and no one will ever be suspicious of it. You won't need a red herring.
Yeah, that's true. You don't need. Just don't tell your kids that story.
Yeah.
And they had that story already made, but she was the only kid
And
on
when
the island.
I mean, I get why she didn't, but when Wonder Woman leaves, just be like, oh, by the way, your
Yeah.
dad's Zeus, you have secret power, so that'll give you so you
I
can
mean,
take him on.
you
real
would
quick.
think that information would help
You'd
on her
think,
journey.
She wouldn't have like been
It's like-
embarrassed by throwing a sword at him and him destroying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, we like the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but there is a bit you can
Yeah.
make fun of here. But it's an origin story.
You can make fun
It
of
did
any
its
origin
job.
story.
Anyway, let's move on, because we've probably got to finish this up in the next 20 odd minutes. We're gonna do a top 5, and we're gonna do a top 5 DC movies. To show a bit of love to DC. DCEU is included. Probably nothing will make it in, but it is included.
It is. Yeah.
Because there haven't been a whole lot of great ones, and I haven't seen a lot of the old ones. I've seen Tim Burton's Batman, but I haven't seen any of the original Supermans and stuff. But we're gonna do it, just a bit of fun to give a bit of love to DC. So I'm gonna start, and I just got 2 honorable mentions. I will mention Tim Burton's Batman because it wasn't bad; it was okay, and that's pretty good for DC. No, I kid. I kid. I would say it's pretty good for the DCEU, but Wonder Woman has now upped their standards and set the bar higher for what's to come. But I'll also say Wonder Woman is an honourable mention for me. It was pretty damn good and would almost make my 5. And my number 5 is The Dark Knight Rises. It is narrowly my least favourite. Actually, no, you know what? Number 5 is Batman Begins. Let's put Dark Knight Rises at 4th. I actually enjoy it despite the plot issues I have with it. Batman Begins is pretty damn good, but I don't remember much of it. And I've seen it a couple times. It's like, Ra's al Ghul's there, training. Hey, you're not my dad. That's, I guarantee you that happens in the movie.
Absolutely.
The fucking Scarecrow's there, and they do stuff, and I don't know, it's good.
And when we were talking about it before, you were like, "Was the
boring,
Sandman there
I
or
would say.
something?" I was like, "That's the Scarecrow," and you're like, "Yep, yeah."
That's Spider-Man. Jacob, that's Spider-Man. I did not grow up with superheroes like you did. I'm sorry. I don't know them all.
All right, I'll get into mine. So my honorable mentions, I actually have the exact same 2 honorable mentions as you, Batman and Wonder Woman. And I'm going to chuck Batman Begins as my 3rd honorable mention in there, just because, like you said, I mean, I love the Dark Knight trilogy. It's probably the best superhero trilogy, second best superhero trilogy we have, in my opinion, anyway. And lots of people would say first. But it's so unmemorable to me, and the finale is really cliche and generic, which isn't like the next 2, which is why it's a tad lower for me. But I do really enjoy it. And my number 5 is going to be Zack Snyder's Watchmen, actually. I really like this film. When I watched it, I wasn't expecting it, but it's basically a graphic novel come to life. Like, the way it's shot is so beautiful. Some of this casting is perfect, man. Jackie L. Haley as Rorschach, in my opinion, is one of the best comic book castings of all time. Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian.
One of the best performances in a comic book movie.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Billy Crudup as Dr. Manhattan with his big blue willy. Not bad.
Big blue dick.
And Carla Gugino, she's not a great actress, but she's really good in that. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, which I guarantee you I did.
You did.
Gugino, I guess.
I don't know how to say it either.
And
Gugino.
When the source material is
Giacchino.
300 pages and it's supposed to be the best, like not just the best graphic novel, some of the best piece of literature of all time, which I've read, like people in university and college study it for like literature classes, it's kind of hard to make it. And I have read some of it, and this is definitely an oversimplified version, and they definitely made the main villain of this one a lot dumber, and his plan a lot sillier than was in the comics. And I don't think Zack Snyder knew exactly what it was about, but it doesn't matter because the visual style is there. He actually got the story right because someone was there to hold his hand. I kid, he's a good director when he tries. Sometimes he just tries too much.
How good's the opening credits?
I love the opening credits. They're so good. Some of the ultra violence is amazing, like when he snaps that guy's arm in midair. It's just so freaking cool. And dude, I don't know, something about
Jaron,
Patrick Wilson beating people up just gets me hard.
I like Patrick Wilson. Best line in the movie. Oh no, you don't understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
It's what, again, I'm saying this a lot, but one of my favorite lines from a comic book movie. It's so badass, man. Whenever I hear that, I get goosebumps, and I'm like, yes. Like, I literally Google that, YouTube that scene and just watch that scene because I don't want to sit through 180 minutes
every day,
every week. Yeah, every day before I wake up. Right after I wake up, I'm like, it's my daily motivation. I'm probably going to video it right after this.
It's your daily wank material.
Who needs porn when you have Rorschach yelling at prisoners? And he, like, melts that guy's face. Anyway, you're number 4.
Well, as I said before, it was going to be my 5, but I just changed my mind mid-top 5, because I don't give a fuck, Jaron. So it's Dark Knight Rises, and, I do have some big issues with it, but I've watched it a few times, and I do enjoy the movie. Like, I can sit through the whole thing without being bored, and I really do like this movie a lot. Catwoman was alright, she was pretty good. Batman, there's not a lot of Batman in it, it's alright, and, Tom Hardy as Bane gave us one of the most iconic comic book movie scenes ever. You're a big guy. For yo.
But Jay, I do.
I'm crashing this plane with
I
no
really
survivors.
Do love that opening scene. I think it's fantastic. Even though it's made fun of, I really do like it.
I just think it's a fantastic meme.
I think it's a fantastic scene. So I'm crashing this plane with no survivors. No, I think it is great.
Little finger.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I think Jaron will have this higher, so I won't talk too much. But even though Jaron just talked for ages on a movie that I have higher, because he has no respect. Right. But Dark Knight Rises is pretty damn good. Great action scenes, and it's what
my number 4 is 1978's Superman, the original Christopher Reeve, directed by Richard Donner. It's really great. It's so fucking long. It's like 2 hours and 35 minutes. But it's so good. I mean, they nailed this character, man. Like Superman, he has an actual character arc. He's not brooding the whole time all the way to the end. He struggles. It's just struggle. It's about a god trying to fit in this human society, and he doesn't know what to do. And I mean, if you've seen Man of Steel, this is Man of Steel but done right. And it's got some great foreshadowing at the start. The song is absolutely iconic. The theme for this. I mean, the finale is just really 70s and really cheesy. It's the finale where he flies so fast backwards around the world that he makes the world go back in time so he can save someone. And it's really dumb, but it's just so fun. It's just warm-hearted, and I love it. And Christopher Reeve is my favorite portrayal of Superman. I think he's amazing in it. I think he is really genuinely fantastic. I mean, I'd always seen him in the costume and gone, look, he just looks so goofy, but he's really great in it. Jacob?
Alright, my number 3 is Watchmen. I think it's the only good movie Zack Snyder's ever made, and I hope he can one day reach those heights again. I absolutely love it, and I have nothing else to say because Jaron stole everything else. So, Watchmen's my number 3.
Thank you very much. My number 3 is one, Jacob, I'm crashing this plane with no survivors. The Dark Knight Rises, I think, is criminally underrated just because people make fun of one or two plot holes, and the opening scene, which I actually love.
Oh, the plot holes are pretty
not
bad,
great. But I love the ending, the way it wraps up. I love Bane. He's one of my favorite comic book villains. I think he's so damn good. Tom Hardy was great as him. I love him. I love the cheesy voice. I don't
necessarily love Bane. I just love Tom Hardy. So
I think the fight scenes are kind of bad. Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to shoot hand on hand very well. He never has. None of his Batman movies have great fight scenes. They're more crime movies than fight movies. But
they're all really slow. Even his big fight with Bane, they're just sort of slowly punching each other.
Slow and clunky. But no, I do. I really, really love this film. And yeah, that's The Dark Knight Rises, Jacob.
All right, my number 2 is. I feel like you'll probably have the same one, and it is The Dark Knight.
I also have The Dark Knight at number 2.
What's that? Dark Knight number 1? It's the greatest movie ever made. Blasphemy.
Don't leave yet. Don't click out. Don't thumbs down.
Don't leave yet.
Just listen to us.
Don't leave yet. We'll plead our case to you that The Dark Knight is one of my favorite comic book movies ever, and it's everything you want. You know, it's got a crazy clown man causing shenanigans throughout the city. It's got Batman saying, "Oh, where is she?" and fucking, you know, all that shit.
Swear to God,
swear to me.
I think that's Batman Begins, but whatever.
Yeah. Aaron Eckhart as Dent Face.
Harvey Dent,
he was pretty good. That's probably like my one problem with the movie is that Two-Face is just kind of used up in the third act.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't get much of him, but
the
other than that,
Harvey
I
Dent
love
was
this
better
movie.
than the character of Two-Face.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. See, I feel Two-Face was a little rushed, but the ending scene is really good.
Fantastic.
With Batman saves him and has that monologue and stuff, and let's be real. Let's not lie. The reason this movie is so great and so beloved is Heath Ledger.
It's the
like you can't fucking lie to yourself. You can't.
Yeah.
If you're saying that the movie would be anywhere near as great if it wasn't for Ledger, you're in denial.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're saying that anyone else has a better performance in a comic book movie that's not Heath Ledger, you're wrong.
You're
wrong. You're objectively wrong. Heath Ledger gives the best performance of all time in any comic book movie. He's fucking amazing, and he was gone too soon. And this is the movie that drove him insane. And rest in peace, rest his soul.
Yeah, he spent weeks in a hotel
Months,
room, probably taking all kinds of pills and shit,
talking
to
to
get the
himself,
mindset of the Joker.
Coming up with mannerisms, like it killed him. It's like it's been commonly known his family called Joker the role that killed him. And he got a posthumous.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, who's to say? I mean, he got that posthumous Oscar. He did not get an Oscar because he died. He got an Oscar because he fucking deserved it.
But like, dude, a fucking genre flick, a comic book movie, what an acting Oscar! Like, we will probably never see that again.
Logan, but no, it won't happen.
He won't win, but he like him and Jackman are probably nomination worthy in my books, but they probably won't even get that.
But no, we love The Dark Knight, and I think we both have the exact same number 1 too.
Our number 1 is an underrated one that would not show up on everyone else's list, and it is kind of under a different comic label, but it still counts as DC. It's V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta is one I saw back in 2013 when I started getting into film, and it's one of my favourite comic book movies of all time. Obviously, it's at the top of this list.
It's one of my favourite fucking movies.
It's in my top 30 movies of all time. This or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World are my favourite comic book movies of all time. And V for Vendetta, it's come to life. Hugo Weaving plays V. It's set in like a futuristic kind of dystopia, and where there's like the government is authoritarian, and Natalie Portman, in my opinion, gives her best performance. She's really great in Leon, but this is her best. And
yeah, fuck you, Ewan, saying she was bad in it. Kill yourself.
Well, you're a loser. I bet he eats lunch by himself. Enough of Ted 2 references. It's so goddamn good, and dude, the ending gets me every time. It's brilliant. I don't say this a lot, but it is a brilliant ending.
So uplifting. It's so uplifting. Just the music, the fucking explosion, even that scene in the first act where he sort of saves Evie in that alleyway, and then he grabs he takes her along and then blows up Town Hall, and the music, it's just it's beautiful, and everything in between those two big climactic scenes is great as well. There's so many fucking memorable moments. The scene where he throws her in the fake prison, gets her head shaved and stuff, and she learns the story about that person who was fucking imprisoned.
She was imprisoned at the Jewish death camp next to Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, it's such a moving story.
And you find out so this is a fake prison. You faked those notes, and he's like, no, that's the person who was next to me. I kept them. It's just so sad. I mean, it's just so goddamn amazing. Hugo Weaving is so charismatic, and you never see his face. He's behind a mask the whole time.
See, we're talking about great superhero movie performances. That's up there, and we didn't even see his face.
He never once even shows a hint of a face. one time you don't, and at one point it does a lot for his character. It goes for like 5 seconds. He's cooking dinner. He's cooking breakfast for Evie, and he's not wearing his gloves. And she sees his hands, and they're just burnt to a crisp. They're like munted. He looks like Deadpool, but way worse. And she's like, "What has happened?" And he like rushes, and he just puts on his gloves and continues in like his nice manner. "Evie, how are you?" Like, it just does a lot for him, and he's such an interesting character because we know nothing about him besides the fact that he was incarcerated in a Jewish death camp, and he survived a fire, and he got back out, and
it's genuinely sad when he goes down at the end, but he passes on because really V is just an idea, and he inspires rebellion in the people. And I just want to Jaron, I just got to say one thing. On this most auspicious of nights, permit me then, in lieu of the more commonplace sobriquet, to suggest the character of this dramatis persona. Voila! In view of humble vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate, this visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and it has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value of veracity of such one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this visachoir of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honour to meet you, and you may call me
not gonna
V.
lie, that was amazing. Such great writing. That speech.
Are you like a crazy person?
I'm sure they will say so. It's a real funny film when it wants to be. I'm quite sure they will say so. There's again iconic scenes. When he breaks into the telephone tower place where they're broadcasting TV, and he puts Forks masks on everyone, and they're walking out and they don't know who he is. And that last scene with his size, where he takes all the bullets and then just starts throwing knives into people. It's so badass, and it's just amazing. I love the film, and that's V for Vendetta.
I guarantee you, I butchered about 50%.
Do you think that
speech,
before he came up with the name V, he wrote speeches like that for every letter and just decided which one was cool? Come on. What about the This started this absolutely started the trend of having a character in an intense montage set up domino of himself in between sets of him action. It's so cool. It's so awesome. It's just something he'd do too. It makes sense.
I just want to imagine him sitting there for years perfecting this speech, writing it at his computer for whenever he wants to fucking meet
Do you think he goes out on nights just to meet people so he can say the speech? He's like, "Oh, this person's not running away. It's perfect time."
He's known at the local bars as the fucking crazy.
I'm quite
dude
sure they will
say
say
a bunch
so.
of V words every week.
God damn, yeah. And I want to try his egg on toast. To be honest, I don't even like egg that much.
Underrated superhero movie. What's that old movie? The
Mask of Zorro.
Is it? Yeah.
It makes me want to watch that. When he and Evie watch that, The Mask of Zorro is my favorite film. And she walks out and he's practicing it against, and he's like pretending he's in the movie against a dummy.
Or was it? Hang on. Or was it the?
That's it. Yeah, sorry, the Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah.
The Count of Monte Cristo. It's Crisco, you idiot.
Cristo.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for the show tonight.
Should we file that under educational? Anyway, such a great film. Our favourite DC film. We've been watching this for years. And that's it. So that's it for the show. Thanks for watching. If you go back like 4 pods ago, you can go back and write your predictions for box office, and you might win.
I was just going to say, V is the best Wachowski movie not directed
absolutely.
by the Wachowskis.
I mean, come on, it's probably directed by the Wachowskis. There's lots of theories that they shadow directed it, but who's to say? It's the best Wachowski movie that is directed by the Wachowskis as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's better than
The Matrix.
I like it more than The Matrix.
So
Come at me.
I didn't see The Matrix as a youngin' though, so it doesn't have that same effect on me. Still a great film. So that's the show. Thanks for watching, guys. You can catch us on Twitter at Children of Film.
We don't tweet much, but boy, it's quality over quantity here at
better
Children
bloody
of Film.
believe it, big balls. That's another World's End reference. So go check us out there. Find us on Letterboxd at Ziope at Jaron. Just search it up. So Jacob, anything else to add?
I'll say we're going to be getting together again in about a month
yeah.
from now, and you're gonna if you want to see our ugly mugs again, we're gonna be meeting up in the city of Melbourne to go to a football match and see some
exactly a
movies,
month.
and so we're
We'll be
keen
together,
for that. So, of our legions of fans,
so
just
if
get
all of
keen
you
for
wanna
that.
flock out.
We'll probably be doing some reviews along the way. Okay, I'm
We're prolonging it.
again,
Yeah, we
aren't
are.
I?
So yeah, we're gonna be doing lots of vlogs and stuff. That'll be soon. There'll probably be like 1 or 2 podcasts in between 4 weeks. No, we shouldn't have any more difficulties. It should be fine. Difficulties. I just keep thinking of that World's End speech. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Chuck a like and a comment, and we'll see you next time.
You've just listened to the Children of Film podcast.
Man, it sucks to be you.